3 days later, I was sitting in my lawyer's office, signing the final documents. By the time Marcus arrived at the bank, expecting to collect the $400,000, he'd find out exactly where the money went. I could already picture his face when he opened that envelope. But let me back up. It started on a Tuesday morning. I was restocking shelves at Morrison Hardware, the store I'd run for 37 years here in Barrie, Ontario. The bell above the door chimed, and in walked my son Marcus. At 36, he still had that confident swagger, the kind that comes from never having faced real consequences. "Dad, we need to talk." He didn't even say hello. I set down the box of paintbrushes. "Morning to you too, son. It's important." He glanced around the empty store like someone might overhear. "About the Lakefront Towers project." My stomach tightened. I'd heard about his latest real estate venture through Vanessa, my daughter-in-law. Luxury condos on the waterfront. Ambitious. Expensive. What about it? Marcus ran his hand through his hair. "We hit some complications. The contractors found structural issues with the foundation. Engineering reports, redesigns, delays. The investors are getting nervous." "That's rough," I said, genuinely sympathetic. "But these things happen in development, don't they?" "Dad," he stepped closer, "I need $400,000. By this weekend." The number hit me like a cold wave off Lake Simcoe in January. 400,000? The investors are threatening to pull out completely. If they walk, the project collapses. Everything I've built over the past 5 years, gone. His voice had that edge I remembered from when he was a teenager and didn't get his way. "You have it. I know you do." I did have it, sort of. It was my retirement fund. The savings Rose and I had built together over 4 decades. She'd been gone 3 years now, but I still thought of it as our money. The money that was supposed to see me through my remaining years. Maybe leave something for the grandkids. "Marcus, that's my entire retirement. It's an investment, Dad, not a gift. The project completes, you get your money back plus 20%. I've got it all worked out. And if the project fails," his jaw tightened, "it won't fail. Not if I get this bridge financing." "Bridge financing." I repeated the word slowly. "That's what you're calling this?" "Dad, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't critical. Vanessa and I, we've got the house, the cars, the boys' private school tuition. Everything's leveraged on this project succeeding." "Maybe that's the problem," I said quietly. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Let me think about it." "There's no time to think." His voice rose. "I need an answer by tomorrow. The investors want confirmation of funds by Thursday." "Marcus." "Tomorrow, Dad. Please." He turned and walked out before I could respond, the bell chiming his exit like a countdown timer starting. I stood there among the paint cans and power tools, feeling suddenly very old. That evening, I drove to Jake and Liam's hockey practice like I did every Tuesday. The twins were 10, full of energy and terrible jokes. They didn't know about their father's business troubles. To them, Grandpa was just the guy who never missed a game and always had Timbits afterward. "Grandpa!" Liam skated over to the boards, his too big helmet sliding forward over his eyes. "Did you see my slap shot?" "Nearly took the goalie's head off," I said, grinning. "Your grandmother would have been proud. She had a mean slap shot too, you know." "No way." "Way. Played women's hockey back in the 70s. Toughest player on the ice." Jake joined us, breathing hard. "Are we still going to the Sugar Bush next weekend?" "You promised." "Wouldn't miss it, bud." Vanessa appeared beside me, car keys in hand. She looked tired. "Robert, thanks for coming. The boys love having you here. Nowhere else I'd rather be." She hesitated. "Marcus talked to you today?" "He did. I told him not to." She watched the boys through the glass. "I told him we'd figure something else out. He doesn't listen anymore." "How bad is it really?" "Worse than he's saying. He's been pulling money from everywhere, trying to keep the project afloat. I don't even know all the details anymore. He stopped telling me months ago." She turned to me, and I saw the fear in her eyes. "Robert, don't give him the money. I know he's your son, but this needs to stop." "What needs to stop?" "Him expecting someone else to fix his mistakes. His parents, investors, banks. He's always found a way to avoid consequences. This time, if the project fails, Maybe that's what needs to happen. Those words stayed with me all night. At home, I sat in the living room Rose and I had furnished together. Her reading chair still sat by the window, though I couldn't bring myself to sit in it. On the mantel were photos. Marcus's graduation, his wedding, the twins as babies. One showed him at age 8 holding his first trophy from a school business competition. Even then, he'd been driven to succeed. But somewhere along the way, success became the only thing that mattered. I remembered the early years. After Rose died, Marcus had been there, helped me through the worst days, made sure I ate, kept the store running when I couldn't face it. That was the son I knew, the one who still had time for something other than the next deal. Then the real estate business took off, and slowly, he changed. The visits became shorter. Phone calls turned into texts. Family dinners got canceled for client meetings. Even Jake and Liam's hockey games became optional if he had a property showing. "What would you do, Rose?" I asked the empty room. The next morning, Marcus showed up at the store at 8 sharp. I was opening up, counting the cash drawer. So, he didn't bother with pleasantries. "Come in. Lock the door behind you." We sat in my small office in the back, surrounded by invoices and inventory sheets. The space where Rose used to do the bookkeeping, her handwriting still on some of the older files. "I'll give you the money," I said. His face lit up. "Dad, thank you. I knew. En condition." The smile faded slightly. "What conditions?" "First, I need everything in writing. Loan agreement, repayment schedule, collateral. Of course, I'll have my lawyer draw up." My lawyer draws it up. "Second condition. You tell Vanessa and the boys exactly what's happening. No hiding it." "Dad, the boys don't need to. They need to understand that actions have consequences, that borrowing money means owing money." "Third condition. If this project fails and you can't repay me, you work off the debt." Marcus laughed. "Work it off? Dad, at my billing rate? Not. Your consulting rate. Minimum wage. Right here at Morrison Hardware. Full time." The laugh died. "You're joking." "Do I look like I'm joking?" "Dad, I'm a real estate developer. I have a reputation, clients, deals in progress." "Then you better make sure this project succeeds." I met his eyes. "Those are my terms. Take them or leave them." He stood up, paced the small office. "This is insulting. This is reality. You're asking me to risk everything I have, everything your mother and I built. I need to know you understand what that means." "Fine." He bit off the word. "Fine. I accept." "Good. I'll have the paperwork ready by Friday. The money transfers once everything's signed." He left without saying goodbye. That afternoon, I did something Marcus didn't expect. I called my lawyer, Graham Patterson, who'd handled Rose's estate. Graham had been our friend for 20 years. "Robert, good to hear from you. What can I do?" "I need you to set up a trust fund." "A trust fund? For the twins?" "Exactly. $400,000. They can't access it until they're 25, except for education expenses." There was a pause. "Robert, didn't Marcus just ask you for $400,000? "He did." "I see." Graham's voice carried understanding. "You want me to draw up the trust documents and loan papers simultaneously?" "You're a smart man, Graham. Does Marcus know about this plan?" "Not yet. He will when he comes to sign the loan papers." "Robert, he's not going to be happy." "No," I agreed. "But his sons will have their futures secured. That's what matters. I'll have everything ready by Friday morning." The next few days passed in a strange fog. I went through the motions at the store, helped customers, restocked inventory, but my mind was elsewhere. Was I doing the right thing? Was I being cruel to my own son? Thursday evening, Vanessa called. "Robert, Marcus told me about the loan." "Thank you. Did he tell you all the conditions?" "He did. The repayment schedule, the collateral, all of it. It's fair. There's one condition he doesn't know about yet." I explained the trust fund. Vanessa was quiet for a long moment. "Oh, Robert," her voice cracked, "that's the most beautiful thing anyone's ever done for my boys. Rose and I always wanted to set up education funds for them. This seems like the right time. Marcus is going to lose his mind." "I know. He'll think you don't trust him." I don't, I said gently. Not with money, not anymore. But I trust that he loves his sons. Deep down, even he'll understand this is the right thing. Thank you, she was crying now, for everything, for being at every hockey practice, every game, for remembering their birthdays when Marcus forgets, for being the stable thing in their lives. After we hung up, I sat with her words. The stable thing. When had that happened? When had I become more consistent in their lives than their own father? Friday morning arrived. Marcus came to Graham's office downtown. The meeting room had a view of Kempenfelt Bay, ice still clinging to the shores despite spring arriving. Graham laid out the papers. These are the loan documents. $400,000, 5% interest, 5-year repayment term. Your father's house and the store are held as collateral against the loan if you default. Marcus read quickly, signed. Done. When does the money transfer? Not quite done. Graham pulled out another set of documents. These are trust documents. Trust documents? Marcus looked confused. Your father is establishing a trust fund for Jake and Liam. $400,000. I watched understanding slowly dawn on Marcus's face, followed by disbelief, then anger. That's my money. No, I said quietly. That's my money. And I'm choosing to invest it in my grandson's futures. You told me you'd give me the loan. I told you I'd give you money. I never specified it would be the loan you wanted. Marcus stood up so fast his chair fell backward. This is a joke. You're sabotaging my project? I'm securing my grandson's education. There's a difference. They're my sons. I'll pay for their education when the time comes. With what? The question hung in the air. If your project succeeds, you'll have money. If it fails, you'll have nothing. This way, regardless of what happens, Jake and Liam are protected. Protected from what? Their own father? Protected from uncertainty. From the possibility that your business decisions might impact their futures. Graham cleared his throat. Marcus, this is actually quite generous. The trust allows for education expenses starting immediately. If the boys need tutoring, equipment, or opportunities, the trustees can approve those expenses. Who are the trustees? Your father and Vanessa. Marcus turned to me. You went behind my back. You manipulated this whole thing. I made a choice about my own money. The same way you made choices about your projects, your investments, your risks. The difference is, my choice protects children. Yours only protected your ambitions. That's not fair, isn't it? When's the last time you went to one of their hockey games, Marcus? Really went. Not just showed up for the third period because a client meeting ran late. I'm building a future for them. No, you're building a future for yourself. There's a difference. He grabbed his jacket. I don't need your help. I'll find the money somewhere else. There is nowhere else. I checked. You've maxed out your credit, borrowed against the house, tapped every investor you know. This was your last option, and you know it. Marcus stood at the door, breathing hard. I'll remember this. Good. I hope you do. He left. The door closed with a heavy thud. Graham sighed. That went well. Better than I expected, actually. He didn't throw anything. Robert, are you sure about this? He's your only son. That's exactly why I'm sure. Rose and I spent 38 years building something stable. I won't watch it disappear into a failed real estate project. But those boys deserve their chance. The weekend came and went. Monday morning, I learned from Graham that Marcus had missed his deadline with the investors. They'd pulled their funding. Lakefront Towers was officially dead. I expected Marcus to call, to rage, maybe to apologize. He did none of those things. Instead, he disappeared. Not literally. But he stopped answering my calls, stopped bringing the boys to hockey practice. Vanessa texted me apologetically. He's not handling this well. Needs space. I'm sorry. Weeks passed. I kept the store running, though business was slow. Spring in Ontario meant everyone was focused on gardens, not hardware. I had time to think. Too much time. Had I done the right thing? Protected the grandchildren. Yes. But at what cost? One Tuesday evening, I drove to the arena anyway. Hockey season was ending, but maybe the boys would be there for free skate. They were. Jake and Liam racing around the ice with their friends, Vanessa watching from the stands. I climbed up beside her. "Hi, Robert." She smiled tiredly. "I wondered if you'd come." Of course I came. I always come. We watched the boys in silence for a while. Finally, Vanessa spoke. He lost everything. The project, his reputation, most of his clients. He's been drowning in calls from creditors. I'm sorry. Don't be. You were right. This needed to happen. She wiped her eyes. Last week, he got a job offer. Junior Development Associate at Brennan Properties. His competitor? Former competitor. Now his employer. It's entry level. Salary's about $60,000 a year. He starts Monday. How's he taking it? Like someone who just realized the world doesn't revolve around him. It's been humbling. For both of us, honestly. We're selling the house, downsizing to something affordable. The boys are switching to public school next fall. Vanessa, the trust fund, covers their hockey and music lessons. Graham helped me understand how to access it for education expenses. Robert, you saved us. Not from bankruptcy, but from this endless treadmill of spending and debt. Marcus couldn't see it, but I did. The twins spotted me and waved frantically from the ice. They miss you, Vanessa said. They ask about you every day. Can I still take them to the Sugar Bush on Saturday? Please. They've been asking about that all week. Saturday arrived cold and bright. I picked up Jake and Liam from their house. A nice suburban split level that would soon have a for sale sign on the lawn. Marcus answered the door. He looked different, older, tired. His expensive suit replaced with jeans and a sweater. Hi, Dad. Marcus, we stood awkwardly. The boys thundered past us, arguing about who got the front seat. Wait, Marcus called after them. He turned back to me. Can we talk? Just for a minute? I nodded. We stepped into the living room. I've been an idiot, he said without preamble. A massive idiot. I blamed you for the project failing, but it was failing long before that meeting with Graham. I was too proud to admit it. Marcus, let me finish, please. He took a breath. I went to my first day at Brennan last Monday. You know what they had me doing? Entering data, updating property listings, making coffee for site meetings. All the stuff I used to have assistants handle. That must have been hard. It was humiliating. But you know what else? I left at 5 o'clock, came home, had dinner with Vanessa and the boys. Actually had dinner, not just grabbed something between phone calls. We watched a movie together. Jake told me about this project he's doing at school about Grandma Rose. Did you know he's doing a project about her? No. I didn't either. Because I haven't been paying attention. Not to them, not to Vanessa, not to anything except the next deal. His voice cracked. Dad, I'm sorry. For everything. For treating you like a bank. For missing what really mattered. For being angry when you were trying to protect my own sons. I'd waited weeks to hear this. But now that the moment had arrived, I didn't feel vindicated. Just sad. Marcus, I didn't want to hurt you. I know. You wanted to wake me up. Mission accomplished. He smiled, weakly. The trust fund was genius, by the way. The boys are so excited about their special grandpa account. Liam keeps asking if there's enough to buy a Zamboni. We both laughed, tentatively. Can I take them to the Sugar Bush? I asked. We can talk more later. Yeah, they've been bouncing off the walls about it. Marcus walked me to the door. Dad, thank you for not giving up on me, on us. The boys were already in the truck, arguing about whether maple syrup came from the same trees as maple leaves. I got in, started the engine. As we pulled away, I looked back. Marcus stood in the doorway, watching us go. He raised his hand in a wave. It was a start. The Sugar Bush was beautiful that time of year. Trees just starting to bud, the air sweet with steam from the boiling sap. Jake and Liam ran between the buckets, tasting the raw sap, making faces at how watery it was compared to syrup. Grandpa, Liam asked as we walked the property, is Dad going to be okay? The question caught me off guard. What do you mean? Mom said he got a new job. She said it's different from before. Jake thinks we're poor now. We're not poor, Jake protested. Mom said we're just being smarter about money. I sat down on a bench. gestured for them to join me. At 10, they deserve some truth. Your dad had some challenges with his business. Sometimes in life, things don't work out the way we plan. That's okay. He's learning and growing, just like you do at school. But we're selling our house, Liam said quietly. You're moving to a new house. Different doesn't mean bad. And you know what? Your dad is going to be home more now. For dinners, for homework, for hockey games. Will you still come to our games? Jake asked. Every single one. That's a promise. What about the grandpa account? Liam looked worried. Did that make Dad sad? I pulled both boys close. That account is for you. For your education, your dreams, your futures. Your dad understands that now. He wants you to have opportunities. Mom said you and Grandma Rose saved that money for a long time. We did. And you know what your grandma would say if she were here? She'd say Jake and Liam are the best investment we ever made. We spent the rest of the afternoon learning about maple syrup production, eating sugar on snow, and laughing at the twins' sticky faces. On the drive home, they both fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted and happy. As I pulled up to their house, Vanessa and Marcus came out together. They helped carry the sleeping boys inside. Coffee? Marcus offered. We sat in their kitchen, the one that would soon belong to someone else. Marcus looked around at the granite counters, the expensive appliances. I never appreciated how much this all cost, he said. Not just in money, but in stress, in time, away from them, in anxiety about maintaining it all. The new house will be home too, I said. Maybe even more so. Dad, I want to ask you something. The loan paperwork Graham drew up. The part about working off the debt at minimum wage if I defaulted? Yes? Is that offer still open? Not because I defaulted, but because I'd like to learn. Really learn about running a business the right way. The patient way. The way you and Mom did it. I stared at him. You want to work at the hardware store? Part-time. Evenings and weekends. Brennan is 9 to 5. I thought maybe I could help you. Learn from you. If you'll have me. Vanessa was smiling, I realized. This had been discussed. Marcus, you'll be bored out of your mind. It's paint cans and plumbing supplies. It's a business that's lasted 37 years. That provided for your family. That still provides for you. I want to understand how you did that, how you built something sustainable instead of flashy. All right, I said. 15 hours a week. We'll start with inventory management. It's less exciting than development deals, but it's honest work. Thank you. Marcus reached across the table, shook my hand formally. I won't let you down. Over the following months, something unexpected happened. Marcus showed up. Every evening after his shift at Brennan, he'd come to the store in his work clothes and help with closing procedures, inventory, customer orders. On Saturdays, he'd open with me, learning the rhythms of small business. He was terrible at it initially, impatient with customers asking basic questions, frustrated by the slow pace. But gradually, he softened, started remembering regular customers' names, learned to explain the difference between types of screws without condescension. One Saturday, Mrs. Chen came in looking for supplies to fix her fence. Marcus spent 40 minutes helping her select everything she needed, explaining each item, even loading it into her car. He came back grinning. She said I was more helpful than the guys at Home Depot. That's because you took time with her, treated her like she mattered, not like a transaction. Is that how you've kept customers all these years? That's exactly how. People remember being treated well. They come back. In June, Vanessa called me. Robert, could you come over for dinner tonight? We have news. I arrived to find the whole family dressed up. Jake and Liam were buzzing with excitement. We got the house, Liam burst out. The bungalow on Maple Street, near the park, Jake added. With the good playground. Marcus looked happy. Genuinely happy, not the manic energy of closing a deal. It's half the size of this place. No granite countertops. No pool, but it's ours. With a mortgage we can actually afford. And I'm going back to work, Vanessa said. Part-time nursing at the hospital. I'd stopped working when the boys were born, but I miss it. We'll be all right. Not rich, but all right. That evening felt like a celebration of something important, though I couldn't name exactly what. Over pot roast and potatoes, we talked about the boys' school plans, Marcus's projects at Brennan, Vanessa's excitement about returning to nursing. "Dad," Marcus said as I was leaving, "I've been thinking about the trust fund." My guard went up slightly. "What about it?" "I want to add to it. Not much, not yet, but $100 a month from my salary. I want the boys to see me contributing to their futures, not just Grandpa's savings taking care of everything." "Marcus, you don't have to. I want to. I need to. For me, not just them. I need to be part of building their security, not just benefiting from yours." I shook his hand. "Graham can set that up." As summer arrived, a rhythm developed. Marcus worked at Brennan during the day, learning the development business from the ground up again, with humility this time. Evenings and weekends, he worked at Morrison Hardware, learning patience and customer service. The boys played hockey in spring leagues. Vanessa started her nursing shifts. I kept showing up to everything, the constant in their recalibrating lives. One evening in July, Marcus and I were closing the store. He was counting the cash drawer, something he'd gotten quick at. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Always." "Do you think Mom would be proud of me? Now, I mean, after everything." I thought about Rose, her kindness, her practicality, her fierce love for our family. "Your mother would be proud that you're learning, that you didn't let failure destroy you, that you're choosing your family over your ego." I paused. "She'd also tell you that one summer of change doesn't erase years of mistakes, that you've got a long road ahead." That sounds like Mom, never letting me off easy. But she'd also say this. I put my hand on his shoulder. She'd say she loves you, always has, always will, just like I do, even when you make it difficult. Marcus's eyes were wet. "I made it very difficult." "You did, but you're here now. That's what matters." We finished closing in comfortable silence. As we locked up, Marcus looked at the store sign, Morrison Hardware, Est, 1987. "You think there's room for a son on there someday?" "Let's see how the next few years go," I said. But I was smiling. That weekend, we all went to the new house on Maple Street. It was smaller, older, needed work, but as Jake and Liam raced through the rooms claiming bedrooms, as Vanessa planned where furniture would go, as Marcus measured for shelves he'd build himself, I saw something I hadn't seen in years. I saw a family. Not a collection of people moving through the motions, but a real family. Connected, present, there for each other. "Grandpa," Liam called from upstairs, "our room has a window seat. Can you teach us how to fix it up?" "We'll make a project of it," I called back. Later, standing in their small backyard, Marcus stood beside me. "I know I don't say it enough," he said quietly, "but thank you for not giving me the money, for giving it to the boys instead, for forcing me to face reality. You're welcome." Though I'll admit, there were days I wondered if I'd ruined our relationship forever. "You saved our relationship. I just couldn't see it at the time." He watched his sons through the window, arguing about paint colors. "I have a confession. That day in Graham's office, when you told me about the trust fund, I was so angry, I almost walked away forever. Almost decided you weren't worth having in my life." "What stopped you?" "Vanessa. That night, she asked me one question. In 20 years, do you want the boys to remember that their grandfather protected them, or that their father's pride destroyed the family?" I didn't have a good answer. She's a smart woman, the smartest, much smarter than me. He turned to face me. "Dad, I know this doesn't fix everything. I know I've got years of making things right ahead of me, but I want you to know, I see it now. What you and Mom built, it wasn't about the money. It was about showing up, being steady, choosing people over profit. That's all I wanted you to understand. I'm trying to live it now, every day, showing up for dinner, making it to hockey practices, actually listening when Vanessa talks, working an honest job. It's harder than closing million-dollar deals, but it feels better." Inside, someone called for help moving a couch. We went in together, father and son, to help build this new version of family life. Months later, on a cold November evening, I was at Jake and Liam's hockey game. They were 11 now, bigger, faster, more confident. Marcus sat beside me in the stands, still in his work clothes from Brennan. Vanessa was on shift at the hospital. "Dad," Marcus said during a break in play, "I got promoted. Project manager. It's good money. Not what I used to make, but good. Congratulations. I wanted to ask you something. I'd like to pay off the trust fund loan. Not all at once, but accelerate the payments. Maybe have it done in 2 years instead of 5. Marcus, you don't have to rush. I know. But I want to. The boys should see me keeping my commitments. And honestly, I want that debt cleared. It reminds me of who I was, and I'm trying to be someone different now." We watched the game for a moment. Liam scored, and we both jumped up cheering. As we sat back down, Marcus said, "You know what the best part of the promotion is? It doesn't require evenings or weekends. So, I can keep working at the store with you." "You want to keep working at the hardware store? Even with the promotion?" "Especially with the promotion. It keeps me grounded, reminds me what real work looks like. Plus, I'm getting pretty good at customer service. Mrs. Chen asks for me by name now." I laughed. "She does?" "Says I actually listen instead of trying to upsell her. Apparently, that's rare." After the game, we took the boys for hot chocolate at Tim Hortons, a Saturday night tradition. They talked excitedly about the game, about school, about the Christmas concert coming up. "Grandpa, are you coming to our concert?" Jake asked. "Wouldn't miss it." "Dad's coming too," Liam said proudly. "He's taking the afternoon off work." Marcus met my eyes over his coffee. No words needed. That Christmas, we gathered at the Maple Street house. It was decorated simply but warmly. No expensive designer touches, just homemade ornaments and strings of lights. Under the tree, presents wrapped carefully in paper the boys had helped choose. "Speech!" Vanessa called out after dinner. "Robert, we insist." I stood awkwardly. "I'm not much for speeches." "Then make it short," Marcus said, grinning. I looked around the room. At my son, who'd learned humility the hard way. At my daughter-in-law, who'd held the family together through crisis. At my grandsons, growing up with values I'd feared they'd never learn. A year ago, I made a choice. It was the hardest choice I'd ever made, and I wasn't sure it was right. But standing here now, seeing this family, I know Rose would be proud. Not because everything's perfect, but because you're all here, together. That's all she ever wanted. All I ever wanted. Family. To family, Marcus raised his glass. To family, we all echoed. Later, as I was leaving, Marcus walked me to my truck. "Dad, I have something for you." He handed me an envelope. Inside was a deed, Morrison Hardware, with both our names. "Marcus, I can't. It's done. Legal and everything. The store's ours, Morrison and Son, if you'll have me as a partner. Son, this place isn't worth much financially. It's worth everything. It taught me what you and Mom always tried to show me. That success isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in relationships, in trust, in showing up day after day." He smiled. "Besides, someone's got to take it over eventually. Might as well be someone who's finally learned how to do it right." I hugged him then, this son of mine who'd lost everything and found what mattered. Driving home through the December snow, I thought about Rose, about the life we'd built together, about the money I'd saved, and the choice I'd made with it. I didn't give Marcus $400,000 that day in Graham's office, but I gave him something more valuable. I gave him the chance to fail, to face consequences, to learn, to grow. I gave his son security and his family a future. And in return, I got my son back. Not the ambitious, driven, absent Marcus of before, but this new version, present, humble, committed, a father his boys could count on, a husband who showed up, a son who finally understood what his parents had tried to teach him all along. The money sat in trust for Jake and Liam, earning interest, waiting for their futures. Marcus made his payments faithfully, ahead of schedule. The hardware store kept running, now with both our names on the sign. And every Tuesday evening, I still went to hockey practice. But now Marcus was there too, standing beside me at the boards, cheering for his sons. That was the real return on investment, not in dollars, but in moments, in relationships rebuilt, in lessons learned and passed on. Rose would have approved. Of that, I was certain.